Hey, everybody, welcome to episode number 160 of the RHO podcast. This week, I'm doing an update episode. I like to do one of these every now and then, especially when we've missed a few weeks like we have now, or we got some stuff going on, some new stuff, or some events coming up. And if you're not like locked into Ridgehunteroutdoors, this one's probably not for you, I'm going to be honest. But it's going to be good if you want to know what's going on, kind of keep you guys up to speed on why it's been a couple weeks, like I said, and kind of what we got coming up next over the next few weeks. That's what I'm going to be talking about. We're right in the middle of turkey season right now, and honestly, that's been a big part of the reason why the podcast has kind of taken a back seat. It's tough to get our schedule to line up with guest schedules, especially during season, whether it's deer season or turkey season, so that's been a big part of it. We are on the backside of fourth season now. For those of you that don't know, there are 5 turkey seasons in Illinois, and I was fortunate enough to get to go. I've hunted all of them so far. I got to go with Tyler and Jason in first season. Actually, opening day, we all 3 went. We were going to try to double. We were going to try to get it on video. Had not a great roost hunt. We had a coyote come in on us that we were going to try to shoot, but we didn't get around on him. Had a few deer come in that we weren't going to try to shoot. We did hear one gobble way off in the distance on that roost hunt, and then we saw some jakes across the road, but just nothing close, nothing even close enough to think about shooting. So the next morning, I went out with Tyler, and we hunted that field where those jakes were. And as it got daylight, there ended up being 3 toms roosted all within sight. And they flew down. 2 of them came right into the decoys, and Tyler killed one of them. It's too bad Jason wasn't with us for that hunt because it would have been the perfect setup for a double. And even the one he didn't shoot stayed around for a while, like they do occasionally when they're fired up. He stayed around for a little bit. Would have been long enough. Could have shot him twice probably. So either way, it worked out really good for Tyler, and we got that one. That was episode 1 of season 2 of Spring Strutting, so you guys can watch that on Carbon TV. You can also watch it on the Fall Pursuit YouTube channel if you haven't done that yet. It was an awesome, perfect roost hunt. When you think about what you want to see off the roost and set up in a field with some decoys, that was it. It was just a perfect morning. It was made some really cool video, those 2 toms coming in, too. One of them strutted all the way in. He ended up probably being the bigger bird. Actually, we looked at the video later. If you guys watch after Tyler shoots his bird, that other one's out there strutting in the field. He's got some hooks on him. Nice beard, too, of course. Tyler's bird was big, too, though. I mean, there was nothing wrong with that. So either way, he got his bird. That opened up spring strutting for us, opened up the turkey season for all of us, too. And then the following day, so that was second day of season. So third day of season, Jason and I went to a spot where we'd seen some birds. It was like the field had been underwater, and the water just got off the day before, and we saw the birds were back out there. And this is a spot where we've had a lot of luck in the past, so we knew there would be some around. We just didn't know if they'd get back there that quickly after the water went down. Well, they did, so we went out that next morning, and we ended up being set up like 50 to 60 yards from where this bird was roosted because he didn't gobble all morning. I thought, usually we go in there and they're just losing their mind in that timber, and especially if there's more than one around. And there ended up being 2, actually ended up being 3 in there, but at the time we knew for sure of 2. And I thought we were going to sit there all morning, and when it got daylight, we saw him at 50 yards or 60 yards, and we were not going to hear him gobble, but he finally did. And then I gave him a few soft yelps early, and he saw the decoys, of course, flew right down into the field to him, strutted in, stopped strutting, kind of took off on a little trot, if you want to call it that, towards the decoys. Jason had trouble seeing him. I was having trouble getting him on the camera just because of the way the weeds were, and we have to hunt in a little ditch on the edge of the timber in that particular spot, so it doesn't set up great for filming. It's a super good spot to kill him, not great for filming him. So he almost got away from us. If you guys saw that one, whether it was a reel or a short or the actual episode, he came in almost to the decoys. I'm trying to get Jason to shoot. I'm up over the weeds with the camera, kind of sitting up real straight, and that tom ended up looking right at me and him, and he turned and was going away, and I cut real hard at him, and I don't know if that really slowed him down, but he did slow down just enough. Jason got a shot off, made a great shot at 30 yards on him, and just dumped him right there on the edge of the field. So he got that was his first bird ever. That was his second time ever turkey hunting. The first one being opening day with Tyler and me. So that was really cool too. That was episode 2 of Spring Strutting. So you guys can again watch that, Carbon TV, Fall Pursuit YouTube channel. Kind of kept the ball rolling. Both first season birds, and then I had the second season tag. So me and Dad we hunted pretty much every day that we could. I don't know. I think we missed one day in there, maybe the Sunday. I think we might have missed the Sunday of my season. But we hunted all the way to the last day. We had some decent hunts. We didn't have anything really close. We were having trouble finding birds. I was trying to kind of save a couple spots for Dad's tag because he had third season. We ended up going back to that spot where me and Jason killed his, though, because we knew there was at least one more bird there. There ended up being two more, actually. But the bird that we ended up killing, that I ended up killing, again, roosted right on the edge of the field. We set the decoys up. He flew down right to him off the roost, strutted in. It was like 5:52 when I shot him. So we were there for 30 minutes, I think. I don't remember exactly what time we got there, but super early. Awesome hunt. I shot almost over his back. Like if you can see in the video, I think it just barely hit him. And then he got up and flew, and I pulled up and shot him like a goose on the second shot, and that knocked him down, and he was done after that. He was down for the count after I shot him out of the air. Feathers went flying everywhere. We didn't get the second shot on camera. I wish we would have. That would have been pretty sweet, but it worked out. We knew going in, like when we got set up, I told him this is going to be a cluster and a crap show, but hopefully it works out. Because I just knew, again, it sets up good to hunt them. Poor spot for filming, but it was my last day. We knew there were birds there, and I wanted to fill that tag, so that's where we went. Ended up working out, got my bird, found out there was another one in there that Dad could still go hunt if we needed to. We also hunted another spot that typically is good, is where me and him both killed our birds last year, and while there was a little bit of sign in there, some tracks and some feathers, there was nothing on that property. We did see one tom across the road that we tried to get around on as close as we could and call him over across, but he was gone by the time we got around there. So it was kind of a dud this year. So we were pretty low on spots. Me and Nate hunted on my permit because he had second season too, so we kind of hunted together a little bit, tried to double. We didn't have any luck, really. One morning we saw a field full of jakes in a spot that I hadn't really turkey hunted much. I hadn't turkey hunted ever before. Used to deer hunt it. And no toms. We heard 3 or 4. But nothing going there. None of the hunts that we had were really fruitful. He was able to get Kaylee a bird the morning, I think opening morning of second season. And then me and him hunted, like I said, a couple times. Never had any luck. But me and Dad finally got that bird on the last day of season. And I kind of used that also for scouting for his season too. We tried a lot of different spots on my permit instead of just going straight to the river there and killing that bird. And it's kind of helped with his season, but it also didn't, because we knew where there weren't birds. We were kind of focusing on where we knew they were, but they were not easy to hunt. And we even had trouble finding them at times. So on his permit, we got to hunt 3 days. And that's kind of part of the other reason that things have been a little bit crazy lately is my wife and I were expecting, her due date was April 30th, which as I'm recording this is 2 days from now, and the baby came on Easter Sunday. So 10 days early, and it was, again, not unexpected, but we were still not ready. We weren't thinking it was going to be that early. So that kind of threw the whole schedule off, and there was 2 days that we were stuck in the hospital doing baby stuff. And that fell right in the middle of Dad's season, so it was really kind of bad timing for him as far as trying to kill a turkey. But it is what it is. So we got to go 3 days on his permit, and one of those days even it rained. So we really got to hunt 2 days, and we hunted hard. We hunted basically till 1 o'clock both days. Or maybe we hunted 4 days, and one of those was the rain out. So we actually got to hunt 3 days. Yeah, that's what it was. And we hunted pretty much till 1 o'clock every day. One day he had a dentist appointment in the middle of it, so we hunted till 8 o'clock, came in and went back out. We got on some birds, but they were across the creek. Obviously, we couldn't call them across. It's a big creek. Couldn't call them across it. We tried to get close enough to the edge of the creek where we could get a shot at them. Didn't work out. What I wish I would have done after me and him went to the river, so the morning I shot my bird, the next morning we went back to that spot because we knew that other one was in there. And we just took the same setup that me and Jason killed our birds with. And I wish after that morning I wouldn't have done that again, because that bird came to within 15 yards inside the timber, which we couldn't shoot into. We never really did see him anyway because we were kind of down in the ditch, and then on the other side of the ditch it just slowly rolled off into the timber. So he was probably 4 or 5 steps from us actually seeing him, but he just never made it. And then he went way around and circled out to the field When he got to the field, he saw the decoys, and he just would not come into them. He got to about 90, 100 yards, maybe a little bit closer than that. And that was as close as he was getting. He would gobble, he would respond to the calls, but he was not coming into that tom decoy that was out there like the other two did. And it kind of clicked, but it didn't fully like, hey, those other two toms came out of here. They've probably been kicking this one's butt for a while, so he's probably not looking for another fight anytime soon. But I don't know, something about just the way he was acting, the way he was gobbling and being vocal. I thought maybe he would come into it. So the next time me and Dad went back to the river and sat on the other side, because he happened to be roosting on the other side, we took the tom again, and we shouldn't have done that. We should have just taken the hen decoy, because it was kind of similar scenario. He came down the levee about 75, 80 yards away from us, saw the tom decoy, hung up, wouldn't come into it. He worked off probably 200, 250 yards, ended up working back again to that same spot, which we couldn't move because he was never out of sight for us. He came back to that spot, and then eventually just worked off with the hen back around the corner of the levee, and that was it. If we would have taken the hen, just the hen, I think he would have came right into it. And I say that because after we weren't able to fill Dad's tag, Hunter's got fourth season. That's one we've been hunting on. This season is her permit. We had a decent chance a couple days ago in one of the spots where there ended up being 4 toms. None of them, again, though, we can't hunt the field there. We can only hunt the timber, kind of opposite of that river bottom spot. And they just would not come into the timber. They worked the edge of it a little bit. They were probably at 40 yards. One of them was probably at 35 at one time. Couldn't tell if he was really in the timber. Hunter wasn't set up to shoot that direction anyway. They kind of came in behind us, while one of them had come in the woods with us. And then right after we saw him go in the woods, these ones gobbled behind us not very far. We couldn't really move. The one that came in the woods wasn't close enough, and we only caught a glimpse of him. He went back out. Those two came out to the field to him. They all met up, and they piddled around in the field for basically the entire morning. We watched those birds till like 1 o'clock. But then this morning, today, the 28th, we went back to the river bottom, and we just took the hen decoy like we should have done on Dad's second hunt and hunted that same bird that we tried to get on his permit. Well, we heard him gobbling on the riverside, so we went and set up on the levee in the only patch of ragweed that's there this year, the only one tall enough to hide in, and heard him gobbling on the roost, heard him fly down, couldn't tell if he was in the field or on the levee road. Well, he ended up being on the road, and he walked all the way down to us. He gobbled one time at probably 60 yards. I'm guessing it was probably right in there, and then he went quiet for 5 or 10 minutes, and we're sitting there in this little patch of ragweed just kind of waiting to hear him again, and then I hear him drum, and I look over, and he's at 15 yards just on the other side of these weeds. He can't see us. Hunter can't even see him. I could just barely see him through the weeds, so I got set up on him. He came right to that hen decoy. He was like 12 yards away, and she just ended up, I think she shot over his back, so she ended up missing right there at 12 yards, but it is what it is. She hasn't shot a whole bunch, so it was kind of tough. First time shooting, first time in that kind of setup shooting at a turkey like that, so that's tough in its own too. But it was a great hunt, and he came in right like he should have for us when me and Dad were hunting, because we should have just taken the hen decoy, and that would have been all over with. But that was this morning, so that's kind of where we're at with turkey season. Jason and Tyler filled their tag. I was lucky enough to fill mine on that other bird. We didn't get Dad one, which kind of bummed out about, because especially knowing now what I do about that one bird, we should have had him. Just some different stuff that didn't work out. It was hard to get on them. One of the spots that we did go to, I think that spot by the creek where we tried to get up to the edge of it. The following morning, we went back into that spot on the other side of the creek where they were all hanging out. Well, they flew down to the field and never did come back in there. So I feel like we had a good plan most of the time. It just didn't work out. And then should have made that adjustment with the decoys that I didn't. But hopefully we can get Hunter a bird. We got a couple more days to hunt here for her. But that's kind of get you guys up to speed on turkey season. And again, you can probably see why that's taken up a lot of the time, a lot of the schedule, why it's been tough on podcast. I've hunted not every day, but most days of all 4 seasons so far. And between that and the newborn, there hasn't been a lot of sleep going on, which is fine. We've got like another week and a half of season, and then I'll be able to catch up on my sleep schedule again. It's been a wild 4 weeks, so I'm excited to get back out there and see if we can get Hunter one. I'm going to maybe try to go with Nate or Dusty in 5th season. They both have 5th season. I think Blake does too, so maybe we can do some hunting their 5th season. But that's where we're at with turkey season. If you guys haven't, go check out the first 2 episodes. The one with my bird, episode 3, will be out soon. I just got everything loaded up onto the computer. I got to put it in Premiere Pro, edit it, produce all that stuff, and get it put out and get it published. But that'll be coming up soon, so keep your eye out for that. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel over there at Fall Pursuit. Subscribe to our channel as well. And then also Carbon TV, it'll be up there if you guys are watching on that. That's awesome. We've had really good reception over there so far. Pretty good viewership on Carbon TV, which is great. I'm really excited about that too. I also wanted to update you guys on the content schedule. There for a while, we were kind of getting rolling with Taxidermy Tuesdays and then the hunting series kind of stuff, the watching, game, and the trivia that we were doing. All that will be back soon. Again, the schedule's been crazy. Turkey season has kind of taken precedent over the podcast and the other content because I kind of have to be out there to get that. So Taxidermy Tuesdays are going to be back soon. I'm going to start working on getting those back out. We'll be doing more deer stuff. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying those. They're pretty fun to make for me. I think it's a cool peek behind the curtain of what goes on at your taxidermist. Like I've said it before, it's not tips for taxidermists. It's more for people who don't do that. They kind of want to see the actual process of what's going on. So hopefully it's good for that. I've enjoyed it. And then watching hunting, gaming, and hunting trivia all coming back soon as well. The watching and trivia we haven't done in a while, but we'll get those rolling as soon as we can. As soon as we can get in and get them recorded. And then the gaming season, we've got 1 episode done of the gaming season. Blake's ahead. I think it's 4. Nate's got 2. I've got 0 points. We're going to do a 5. If you guys didn't watch that or you hadn't heard us talk about it, we're going to do a 5-game season on that. So we got 4 more games coming up, 4 more episodes of that 5-game season. That'll lead into whatever we play next, whoever wins this season. So again, as soon as we can get back in the green screen room studio and get those all recorded, and then I'll get them edited and get them put out, we'll be rolling those out again. So that's coming up. If you guys enjoyed those, don't worry, they're coming back soon. And subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell too, because if you don't do that, it won't tell you when stuff comes out. So subscribe, hit the notification bell, and then you'll be one of the first to know when those do come back out. The event that I mentioned earlier that we have coming up, the Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, you guys know Drew. He's been on the show a lot, Drew Kaczynski. He's the president of the Illinois chapter. They are putting on a grand opening event at the Lake Shelbyville Archery Park, which we talked about with Drew in the past. And we actually were up there for kind of their soft opening when they first opened that place. We did a podcast from there. But this is going to be their grand opening. They've got everything done. It'll be open to the public after that. It's going to be May 16th through the 18th. So if you're in the Shelbyville area, make sure you go out there. It's a 3D course. It's all set up. They've got concrete poured everywhere. I think they've got a parking lot now. All kinds of cool stuff going on out there. It's an awesome course. We went and walked it, of course, when we were there and watched people shoot it. Super cool course, and I think they've got pathways through it all now that makes it wheelchair accessible and all that kind of stuff. So they're going to be doing their grand opening there, like I said, May 16th through the 18th. We should be there on the 17th. That's kind of our plan right now, is to go do another podcast from that on the 17th. So if you guys aren't in the area, make sure you tune into the podcast, and you guys can kind of see what's going on. I'll try to get some video of the course and everything, too. Either put on that podcast or on the channel. And if you are in the area and you do stop by, make sure you come by and say hi to us over there. I'm not sure where we'll be. Last time we did it kind of on their little pavilion out by the pond. We'll get set up somewhere and we'll be visible for you guys. And if you want to come by and say hi, make sure you do that. Bring your bows to shoot that course. Like I said, it's a great one. But it's going to be a fun event for sure. And they did some giveaways last time, so I'm sure they'll have some stuff like that going on again. So you have a chance to win some cool stuff. The last thing I wanted to close with is, you guys may have noticed, and then maybe not, because we haven't done one of these in a few weeks, but our partnerships, we are currently working with Rodney Hawkins, and I'll go ahead and plug him here. He's with Midwest Farm and Land. So if you guys are in the market or trying to get something sold in Illinois, whether that be residential or recreational property or anything in between, he can help you out with that. And he's also got his own business, RHO Outdoors, where he's got Tacticam trail cameras, Radix hunting products, which are going to be out of stock soon because they're, with the tariffs and everything and getting stuff shipped in, I think it's like their manufacturing is kind of slowing down on that. So if you want something from Radix and you're in our area, go to RG Outdoors and make sure you get that from Rodney before he runs out. He's also got some e-bikes and some other stuff as well. And if you guys want any more information on that, he's RG Outdoors on Facebook. RGOutdoors@yahoo.com is his email, and 618-925-3153 is his phone number. You guys can call him about Midwest Farm and Land or RG Outdoors, and he'll help you out with all that stuff. So we're still working with him. And the other two that we were working with, you guys know, Flambeau Outdoors and Grandpa Ray Outdoors. And then Rax, of course, you guys can see the hat. We're still working with them. I might get into that a little more at some point in the future. But for right now, you can check them out, raxmineral.com. And there's also dealers throughout Nebraska. There's some in Kansas. There's one in the Colorado area. You can go to the website, and then it'll show you where your local dealers are. So you don't have to pay all that shipping if you don't want to. Or you can use the discount code FULLDRAW, it's all caps, FULLDRAW, and that'll get you 15% off on the website if you'd rather do it that way. But back to Flambeau and Grandpa Ray Outdoors. So Flambeau, just you guys, kind of a peek behind the curtain, I guess, a little bit. We started working with them last year on kind of a one-year deal. It was a kind of a foot in the door kind of thing for both of us to kind of see how stuff was going to work out. They weren't in a spot at the time where they wanted to really commit to too much, which is fine. I totally understand that. And so we kind of agreed to do a year, almost like a trial run, I guess, with them on a partnership. And of course, we really like their products, and we've used them. I've used their duck decoys for a long time. I've always liked their deer line too, and I've had some of their cases in the past. So it made sense for us to work with those guys. And they kind of hit what I believe to be most of our audience, which is the mostly blue-collar guys that are not able to spend thousands of dollars on decoys and storage equipment, but still are willing to pay a good price for a good product. And I think that's where Flambeau falls. I really do. But anyway, we started that year-long partnership with them. That all worked out great. Everything from their side was awesome. They were great to work with. I feel like we tried to give them as much stuff as we could give them as far as content, and of course, running ads for them on the podcast and everything. But that one came up here, I guess it was in March, and kind of decided that they weren't in a spot, again, where they could commit to anything more than what we were doing. And we're kind of in a spot where we need that commitment to keep working with a company. But there are no hard feelings. It's like, I got nothing bad to say about them. I still love their products, and maybe sometime in the future we can work with them again. But that's kind of where that's at. So you guys won't be hearing us talk about Flambeau anymore. You might still see some of their decoys and stuff on our channel. But if you guys don't hear us talking about that, nothing bad happened or anything like that. It's just kind of business decisions on both ends, and kind of didn't burn any bridges or anything. So it's something that may work out in the future as well. And Grandpa Ray Outdoors is kind of the same thing. They were one of our longest standing partners. And I mean, they got on board early, but it was kind of a similar deal as Flambeau in the end. They had a little bit of ownership change, not completely, but I think some things got shifted around. And they didn't want to commit to any more than they were already doing, because they'd kind of done that stuff in the past and it hadn't really worked out for them. We had never done anything more than what we were doing with them, obviously, other than just a podcast ad. So that was kind of as far as they were willing to go. It was kind of the same deal as I told Flambeau, like, we're to the point where we had to have a little bit more commitment to be able to keep doing what we're doing. It's a lot of work that goes into doing these things. It maybe doesn't seem like it sometimes, but it really is. So I want to try to make it worth it for myself, but also for the guys too, because everybody puts in a lot of work to this, and we can't just keep doing that for what we're doing it for. So similar deal though, no burn bridges, no hard feelings or anything. Still going to use Grandpa Ray Outdoors till we find something better, or, something from a company that we decide we want to work with, and then they want to work with us too. So definitely, if you guys are still looking for good food plot seed, like Grandpa Ray Outdoors, he's got some of the best stuff on the market, no doubt about it. I'm not one of those people that's going to only tell you that when somebody's paying us. I'm only going to have someone pay us if I would tell you that anyway, and that's Grandpa Ray. I mean, they do have some really good stuff. And that's not to say, again, we might not work with somebody else or find something we like better even in the future. Hopefully we can, or, same thing as Flambeau. It might work out with Grandpa Ray again sometime down the road. So that's kind of where we're at with the partnership stuff. So if you guys don't hear us talking about them, it's not like we don't like them anymore or that their products are all of a sudden crap. It's just the way things kind of go in the podcast / hunting industry, I guess. And that's kind of where we're at. So we're still working with Rodney. We're working on a few other things here. Hopefully we can get some of those rolling and bring you guys some more, maybe discounts on some great products, or at least get them in front of you guys and tell you about them. And that way you can support some awesome companies just like Flambeau and Grandpa Ray, Midwest Farm and Land, and RG Outdoors. So I appreciate you guys tuning in for episode 160. Hopefully that didn't bore you too much. Get you all the way up to speed on what we got going on at Ridge Hunter. We've got, like I said, we'll have some guests coming up soon as we get the scheduling figured out. I know we'll have some return ones we're working on right now, and then I'll try to get you guys some new guests too. If there's anybody you want to see, make sure you send us a message or leave a comment, anything like that, who you might want to listen to on the podcast, because I'll reach out to anybody. The worst they can say is no. I'll try to get them on here for you. And then make sure you check out our Facebook group, Ridge Hunter Nation. That way you can use it as a regular hunting group too, but you can also go on there, and if you want to suggest something for the show, feel free, put it in there. We'll give you our thoughts, and I'm going to try to do better about putting some more kind of not exclusive, but maybe a little bit of extra behind the scenes content on there when I can, when things slow down and when I have a little bit more time to do that. But that's Ridge Hunter Nation on Facebook. And then on social media, Ridge Hunter Outdoors, everywhere, Instagram and Facebook. Make sure you follow us there. Again, if you're on YouTube, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Leave us a comment, and we'll catch you guys next time.